Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to my series of Ascendants. Today we will talk about the Libra Ascendant. So what makes you a Libra Ascendant? Before we go into the Libra Ascendant, if you don't know what your Ascendant is, click on the link mentioned in the description of this video and find out what your Ascendant, what your rising sign, and what your Lagna is. They're all the same thing, just different names of the same thing. You need your time of birth, your date of birth, and your place of birth. Okay? And this is Vedic astrology. Do not confuse this with sun signs or your zodiac sign, which means you don't need to be born in a certain month to be Libra. You could be born any time of the year. You could be born in February or you could be born in December and you could still be a Libra ascendant. Okay? So once you figure out what your ascendant is and you have the number 7 in the first house, just like this, that means you are a Libra ascendant. Okay, so let's look at their personalities, what they do, what kind of spouses they have, a little bit about their work and their social lives. All right. So Libra ascendants are ruled by Venus. So to understand the Libra ascendants, we need to look at their first house and their 8th house. And why should we look at the 8th house? Because 8th house is where Taurus sits, and Taurus and Libra both are ruled by Venus. Okay? And since they are ruled by Venus, we need to understand Venus a little bit to understand the Libra ascendant. So what is Venus? Venus is the ruler of anything that we desire. Okay? Venus is the significator of romance, love, creativity. Anything that pleases your 5 sense organs. Okay, so people who are ruled by Venus, or if they have Venus in their first house, you may not be a Libra or Taurus ascendant, but if your ascendant is influenced by Libra or is conjunct by Libra, or Venus sits if your ascendant is conjunct with Venus, or your ascendant is influenced, aspected, or Venus sits in your first house, you will have these particular traits that I'm going to talk about now. So firstly, you would have great desire to eat well, wear good clothes, listen to music, because these are your you would want to please your 5 sense organs, even sexual desires. Okay, creativity, anything that that looks good to the eye. Okay, perfumes. So Venus ruled people are usually kind of inclined to fulfilling the desires of the 5 sense organ, unless the first house or Venus is strongly afflicted or debilitated. Okay, and since Libra is the significator of the balance, these people are usually looked upon as pretty balanced people. Okay, but that might not be true. They might be trying to be balanced. Okay, and they could be doing a pretty good job of being balanced. All right, and looking at some more Venus traits. So Venus is also something. Venus also loves to be social. So Librans are usually very social people. Okay, so these are the people that will have lots of friends. They will, if you have a Libra friend and you say, oh, you know what, I was looking to get this work done and I was looking to get this one, they'll say, hey, one second, let me call him. Yeah, and they would know someone who does that particular thing, and would get your work done. Okay, so they could have like lots of contacts and people that they know. Their social circle is ruled by, if you look at the 11th house, their social circle is ruled by Leo. So we'll come to that when we are looking at their 11th house. All right. But now let's understand the 8th house a little bit, because Taurus sits there. Okay. So what is the 8th house? 8th house is the house of transformation, okay, and a pretty fixed sign like Taurus sits there. Taurus and Libra are not similar signs, although they are ruled by Venus. There's a pretty strong difference between the two signs, right? Taurus is a more focused. It's an Earth sign, okay. Libra isn't an Earth sign. Libra is an air sign. So, what the Libra ascendants or the Librans look for in this life is to somehow find balance, because since they are so ruled by Venus, it's very difficult for them to find balance in this life. So they are always looking for that. And eighth house is the house of ups and downs, okay, transformations, sudden changes, and that doesn't really go along with the balance that Libra is supposed to have, isn't it? Because you can't have ups and downs and balance at the same time in your life. But if you can have a balance through all your ups and downs, that means that's an accomplishment. So I hope that makes sense, right? So Librans might have quite a few ups and downs, because Venus not just rules their first house of their personality, their bodies, themselves, but also is the lord of the eighth house of sudden changes, sudden ups and downs, transformation. And since Taurus sits there, Taurus is also the sign of accumulating wealth, because it's the natural significator of the second house, right? Because Taurus is the original second house. So their transformation could come through the accumulation of wealth, because to fulfill their worldly desires of Venus, you need wealth, isn't it? To fulfill all the desires today, if you want to eat well, if you want to wear good clothes, if you want perfumes, you need money. Okay, so let's understand a little bit more about the Libra ascendants. So since Venus rules them, Venus is not an aggressive planet like Mars or Sun. Okay, so usually the Libra ascendants are really very, very soft, easy to get along people. Okay, and since Libra, the number 7 sign, Libra is the natural significator of the 7th house. So they are all about the other people. Okay, which means social workers could be seen from Libra, or even if they are not social worker, they could really love, interacting with the people, with the world outside. Partnership. So business partnership. They could also make great businessmen. Okay, they could make great business people, since partnership comes naturally to them. All right. So the first house lord Venus and the 8th house lord, if it goes to the 6th house of Pisces, and why are we talking about Pisces is because Venus exalts in the sign of Pisces. Okay, so what we need to understand the Libra ascendant more, we need to understand why the ascendant has to go to the 6th house of debt, 6th house of enemies, 6th house of your daily work, your daily routine, because Saturn is also supposed to be a karaka of the 6th house. Okay, and what happens when Pisces sits in the 6th house? Pisces relates to the spiritual realms. Pisces is places that offer solitude. For example, a monastery. Okay, even prisons. They offer solitude. So, since Venus is this social planet and makes the person social, the person is fond of all the worldly desires that please the 5 sense organs, the highest state Venus could be is in the sign of Pisces, which means, and in the 6th house, okay, is because it signifies solitude. where you have gained control on the five sense organs, and you no longer need to feed the desire of the five sense organs. Okay. And similarly, if you look at the 12th house where Virgo sits, okay, even though Mercury and Venus are supposed to be friends as per the ancient saints, but Venus debilitates there because Venus doesn't like to be in the 12th house of solitude. Venus likes to be in the 7th house where there are people, or in the 11th house of the world outside. Okay. But Venus doesn't like to be on its own. Okay. And since Virgo sits there, Venus tries to analyze, Librans try to analyze the 12th house, that what is the 12th house? It's something that they do not understand. Okay. So that's a little bit about their personality. The positive traits about the Librans, since Venus exalts in the 6th house, they do not have many enemies. And the reason is because Venus is exalted in the 6th house where Pisces sits. Since they have the natural characteristics to partner with people, even if they have enemies, even if everyone has enemies, right? From their past karmas. So Librans are somehow able to partner with their enemies and probably diffuse the situation. And it may not be a prolonged enmity that would get them into trouble someday, right? So the negative traits about the Venus that I have noticed is they could be, if Venus is not very well placed, they could be into addictions of probably eating a lot of sweets, alcohol addiction, any kind of addictions Librans could be very prone to, right? Because Librans are again very social people. They love to meet people. They love making friends. They are all about the people outside. So if you have a Libran kid, and you see the kid growing up, the Librans would want to, you would rarely see them at home because they're always outside with their friends, meeting people, doing this, doing that, all about social gathering, all about the world outside, partnering with them, trying to do some business which has to do with lots of people. Okay. And they're quite helpful in nature as well, which is why they have a lot of friends. At times their friends or even their spouse, if you look at their 7th house is ruled with Aries. It's Mars energy. Okay. Mars energy is a very egoistic, individual energy. Aries people are not the partnering kind of people. All right. Unless they really have to, they are okay to do, okay, you know what, I will do it alone. I will win. If they're playing a game which involves teamwork, they'll say, you know what, I will do it alone. That's the Aries energy. And they might be able to do it. For example, Michael Jordan is a typical example of Aries Ascendant. Okay. And we know that Michael Jordan was pretty much the one-man show in Chicago Bulls for a very long time. Okay. So the Librans, since they have a soft nature, they the Aries energy is in their spouse, so they're firstly attracted to the Aries energy, the dominant energy, authoritative, aggressive Aries energy is something that they are attracted to because they do not have it. And remember, we are attracted to what we don't have. We are always attracted to what isn't us. We are attracted to something that is not there in us, and we probably want to have that. That's why we want it. Okay. So their spouses could feel that the Libra Ascendants never take a stand about anything. Okay. And that could cause problems between them, right? So that's a little bit about their 7th house. And let's look at, now that we have looked at their 7th house, now let's look at their 2nd house. Why will we talk about both these things together is because the Aries energy of the 7th house and the 2nd house Scorpion energy is ruled by Mars, which means the wherever Scorpion sits, there is secrecy and there are deep emotions. So they are very deeply connected to their family, the Librans. They might not show it, but they are deeply connected because, again, secrecy. Secrecy. I remember this person who had nothing good to say about his family, right? Because his father was in the army. Again, that comes the Mars energy, right? Looking at Scorpio. So Scorpio is again the Mars energy, military backgrounds, and you could have a lot of Libra ascendants who are from the police, secret services, or the army background, right? Because it's ruled by Mars. But he was very, very deeply connected to his family, right? So that's about their second house. Their accumulated wealth, their savings, their money is also seen from the second house, the inheritance, and they could be very secretive about it. You could be their spouse, but you may know nothing about how much money Librans have. Okay, because the Scorpio sign of secrecy, all hidden things have is there in the second house. They might not be very happy to discuss about their family affairs either. Okay, now let's look at their third house of their younger siblings. The younger siblings are usually very principles oriented. They could also be into the teaching profession, since Sagittarius, the Jupiter energy, rules the third house. And the third house and the ninth house of the Librans are very, very interesting, because their communication is very idealistic. So if you speak to if you are friends with Librans, or Libra Ascendants, they firstly they're fun people. They are lots of fun. They love having fun. They love talking. They really, really like talking. But if you have deep conversations with them, you'll be amazed that about their views, because the way they speak, and the more you talk to them, you'll realize that they will speak about being very idealistic, about idealistic things, about philosophy, about principles, about they will have conversations about what is right, what is wrong. Also, Librans, have seen a lot of Librans are, especially if the fifth lord, Saturn, comes in their first house and gets exalted in their first house, they are patriots, like Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, although Mahatma Gandhi's first house was not, Saturn wasn't there, but usually Librans are known to be patriots because of their Jupiter energy coming into their third house of communication. Okay, and we've also already spoken about their sixth house, where this other energy of Jupiter, Pisces, is there, and Venus getting exalted there, and why Venus is exalted in the sixth house. I think we've spoken about that. Okay, so since Sagittarius rules their third house, their communication is not always. Their communication could be very fiery as well, could be aggressive as well. Okay, because Sagittarius is a fire sign. Okay, now let's look at their fourth house and their fifth house, and why we will discuss these two signs together is because Saturn rules that. So whenever Saturn rules the fourth house, okay, especially if Capricorn sits there, their family life is usually very disciplined. Remember, I told you about my friend who had the father in the armed service, in the armed forces. Like, so you look at their eighth house, the second house, where Scorpio sits, that's Mars energy, and then Saturn comes to their fourth house of their home, their mother. Okay, so their mothers could be very disciplined. Their mothers also could be from the army or the police background. Okay, I know someone, and her mother is actually works for secret services. Okay, and there's discipline and there is structure at home. So Librans, being this fun-loving, jovial sign that loves communication, loves the world outside, loves making friends, they could have some tough time at home because of the discipline at home. And there's probably one reason why they want to go out and have a very social, communicative life outside with friends and with the people outside. Okay. But later on they realize why the discipline and structure is important in their homes. Okay. And bang opposite that is Cancer. Cancer is ruling the 10th house. Okay. And what is Cancer? Cancer is emotion. They're emotional about dealing with their career. Okay. So the best professions for the Libra ascendant, since they are so aligned with the world outside and the people, is the service industry. So if you have a Libra ascendant, son or daughter, and you are the parent, and you are figuring out what profession will they be naturally inclined to, and where they will excel. Will it be politics? Will it be something creative? Will it be a medical profession? If they are Libra ascendant, they would have natural inclination to the service industry. They would make fantastic chefs. Even the ones that I know in my friend circle, in my circle, the Libra ascendants who are not professional chefs, but they just can naturally cook so well. It just comes naturally to them. Okay. Since Cancer sits in their 10th house, this is an ideal profession for them. Okay. So let's look at their 5th house, where Aquarius sits, and Aquarius is the natural significator of the 11th house of the. Okay. And 11th house is the house of gains, and 11th house is also large organizations. So their fun, their creativity, since Aquarius signifies large organizations, their gains come through, they enjoy doing anything with large organizations. For example, the service industry or consulting. Okay. So the hotel industry is seen from there. All right. Now let's look at the 11th house. So 11th house is where Leo sits. And although they really love networking and going out, because 11th house is all about networking, your friends, your gains, your older sibling. Sun debilitates in the sign of Libra. Okay. And the reason why it debilitates is because Sun is the king and Libra is all about the people. It's like the marketplace. Okay. Where do people use a balance? In the marketplace, where you want to weigh, buy and sell. If you want to buy 1 kg of rice, you have to use a balance to weigh 1 kg, right? So that's no place for a king, right? So a marketplace isn't the right place for a king to be. So that's how the ancient saints have explained why the sun debilitates. But the 11th lord coming into the sign of Libra isn't really good for Librans, because since their main objective is to establish balance, it just becomes too much, the outer world outside, because Librans are trying to be balanced in everything. Okay. So the lesser, the more balanced they are with their interactions with the 11th house, the better it is. Okay. And 11th house is also the house of gains, and which means incoming wealth, and the wealth coming in from 11th house. And if Venus is not very well placed, remember, Libra ascendants would feed their 5 sense organs, and too much wealth plus great desire to enjoy the 5 sense organs isn't a very good sign. Okay. Remember, I told you about addictions. Okay. Venus, Venus, especially the Venus rule signs, they need to be a little careful about addictions. Okay. And I'm not just talking about alcohol or drugs, but they could become foodies. They could put on weight because of eating a lot, especially if Jupiter is also aspecting Venus, or Jupiter is aspecting the 1st house. All right. So let's discuss the 12th house and the 9th house a little more in detail. So Mercury is what rules these two houses, because Mercury is the lord of Gemini and Mercury is the lord of Virgo. So since 9th house is ruled by Gemini, they are very communicative with their gurus, with their teachers. Okay, their father, they have communication with their father. They love communicating with their fathers. All right. uh, and since Sagittarius sits in their um, third house, like I said, you while they speak, they like to talk about being about principles and idealistic conversations you can expect from the Libra ascendants. They are also very fond of going traveling, because ninth house also signifies long distance travel, right? And since Mercury also controls their 12th house, they are kind of analytic about how much, if they have to donate something to an organization that for social service, or to the poor people, or an NGO, they'll be very calculative about it. Since they are the natural significators of business and partnership, they will be kind of careful about where the money goes. They're also very analytic about the 12th house things, their dreams. So there would be people who want to analyze their dreams. Oh, I had this dream, why did I have this dream? They would really want to know, right? Because the whole partnership, the idea of partnership just comes naturally to the Libra ascendants. They want to partner with their friends, their colleagues, partnership at home, and even they don't want to have any enemies. They want to partner with their enemies and probably want to be friends with them. All right. So that was my analysis of the Libra ascendant. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know more about these things, stay tuned. And if you want a consultation, or you want to talk to me, you can also visit my website, www.swamisaptaparni.com. Thank you so much for your time, and you all have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.